There we go. Now it's actually capturing my audio. Someone else say something. I thank you so much for saying something.
Something.
I appreciated that
A word.
infinitely. It's not capturing your audio, but I love it.
Oh.
Okay. Bot and someone else.
No capture audio?
It's capturing now. We got it.
Yay.
I just had to fiddle with that. I know how to fiddle. Audio is like my specialty, if anything. So, we're good. Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a hello to anyone watching this now or in the future. This is a test stream. We are attempting and successfully streaming to YouTube and Twitch simultaneously, theoretically. I would pull up the thing, but if I pulled up the thing, then I would also be really, I mean, that we're unprofessional right now. It doesn't really matter. It's a test stream, so let me just double check that we're. Oh gosh. Oh. Does it not? Oh.
Oh?
Oh, okay, no. Okay, we're good. I just Cartoon Fan muted, and there was so much background noise there. So
There was a lot
like,
of background
I was
noise.
just like, oh, did something break?
No, it didn't break. It just. Cartoon Fan was. We had the. That was where the echo was, I assumed.
Yeah, no, it was. Okay, so we're live on there, and it's showing infinite stuff, and we do have people. I hope there's nothing that's being revealed on here that's bad. I don't think there is. I can close that, and
I mean, I'm streaming from the same place I normally stream from, so I mean, you might be able to see a little bit of my background, but I don't care.
No, I meant like in terms of my
Oh, your desktop.
Desktop, yeah. I'm just gonna go like this, and go like that, and do that. It's capturing this. I don't want it to capture that. Especially don't want it to capture that or that.
Bad OBS. Bad
OBS.
Bad
OBS. OBS, what are you doing? OBS, don't capture that. OBS. Oh no, you can see our channel analytics. Oh no, we're publishing our channel analytics.
No.
Oh no. What? Oh no, transparency. Pirate party. What is this?
That's not right.
Okay, anyway, we're back. Now it's capturing the right window.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hopefully if I open a new window that won't capture that. Yay! Okay, I finally got it to not capture the window that I want to use. Okay, so now if I go check out the
streams.
The stream from this other window, it won't frickin' matter.
But now Yari, let's not forget the most important part here. We don't cross the streams.
I thank you for the Ghostbusters reference. I do appreciate it. And at the same time, I don't like legitimately, I don't know how you would do that.
Cross the streams. How would you cross the streams? I don't know.
With a digital thing?
I'm sure there's probably a way.
Imagine all
the
data as
right. Hey, there you go. You got your camera going now. Imagine all data as you know it, and imagine it exploding at the speed of light. Like that would happen if you cross the digital streams.
I'll put this out there. That is sort of just what happens, right? So like, we get. I mean, all radio waves and gosh, I need to cover up my face, otherwise I just end up looking at myself. Narcissistic as I am. It's just how my brain works.
That's
When
fine.
you're in a
Whatever.
video call, I always end up like doing hide self view or whatever.
Ah.
I wanna go to our
Go to our reporter downtown.
Yeah, I want to go to our reporter downtown. I want to go to our see if we have any chat folks. Probably not, but just in case.
Right, because this was like not.
It's not
not
planned,
expected.
not expected nor planned.
We have like 10 subscribers on my channel, on our channel. It's awesome.
We have. Oh, on the
The
Pennsylvania.
PA, yeah, the PA Pirates.
Hell
channel.
yeah. Yeah, you're getting there.
Hey, that's honestly, it's more for transparency than getting people views right now.
Oh
anyways,
yeah,
so.
no, I mean that's I think a little bit of like always what it is.
Mhm.
I mean that's the thing, right? Oh hey,
Yeah,
AJ's
absolutely.
here. AJ's on YouTube. Thank you, AJ. Hello, AJ. And then let's see.
Shout out to AJ.
Shout out to AJ, our fearless chair. I mean,
You
it's
gotta call him the Commodore.
fearless captain. That's what I meant to say. There we go. That's the more title of titles. Commodore. What
Commodore's
is
the next step up. You know.
It is.
Yeah. Well, in the British Navy,
Oh.
the U.S. doesn't. Have a Commodore.
I don't know
You
if I want to
go straight
model
to Admiral.
anything after the British Navy.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Just on principle.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the only reason I say Commodore is because it is between in the British Navy, it's between captain and admiral. The U.S. has lower admirals and higher admirals, and they're all admirals.
Was
so.
the hand raise intentional? Oh, just double checking.
So yeah, I don't know. I just think Commodore.
Yeah,
Commodore
it's
is
a good name
I think
too.
I think it's a cool. I don't know. I think it's a cool title. Like
It is a cool title. I will give you that. It is a really cool title. There's a lot you can do with Commodore.
play games and stuff on it.
Yeah, Commodore 64. There you go. Hey. Yeah.
There's a whole big retro community out there we could be tapping into.
Oh shit! I mean, that would be great. I'd be
Everybody
super. I mean, well, okay. First, but first, the problem with that is like first you have to get the console,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
no,
that's like
there are
They've
goofballs though that are rebuilding them though, like from that are like building new Commodore 64s in like
Wait,
chips that
seriously?
are like this big.
hell
Like
yeah.
they're using FPGAs and stuff.
You just said an acronym, and I don't know what it is. I would love for you to explain.
They're fully programmable pin grid array chips. They're basically like it's like a custom chip.
That
Did it-
feels just like a Raspberry Pi to me.
No, it's actually it actually creates a hardware chip depending on how you program it. Like they use FPGAs to actually hardware recreate like some of the old silicon that was like in Nintendos and Segas and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But it basically makes it 1-to-1 compatible. Like it's like the
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
FPGAs are very cool.
I will have to look this up. Honestly, like this
Yeah.
could be very interesting for
Yeah, they're
my
very cool.
own research and art. and
Yeah,
stuff,
it's like
so.
it's like if you you can actually use them in a sense that if you want to create a custom chip, you can create a custom chip and just program it instead of having to actually fab it. You just buy the FPGA and the programmer, and you can make make your own hardware.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's pretty cool from what I've heard.
Have you worked with them at all?
I've
Either of
only
you?
I've only used them.
Oh, okay.
I haven't.
For what?
I haven't. I've only bought them pre-programmed. I guess I should put it that way, and used them after they've been pre-programmed. I don't. Again, programs is not really my thing.
No.
Nah, I'm hardware networking. More that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool technology though. I think some people were making were using them to make Bitcoin miners early in the process at one point.
I would imagine so.
Before everybody started investing in their own silicon to mine, and now that's kind of all going out the window because it's just way too expensive.
Can't wait for that to crash. I don't think it will. It won't. It won't. But
well, I think the cool thing is that with Ethereum it's switching out of the mining side of things, which is completely wasteful.
Yes.
And it's switching into proof of stake, which
yes.
is a lot better. But,
something at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite as power intensive.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Yeah. No, proof of work is a mess.
Although proof of work in the beginning was probably the only way any of it was successful anyway at all.
No, exactly. And I just it's just the I don't know. I have complicated feelings about cryptocurrency, and they are mostly bad, I'll be honest. And it is just I think mostly upset with at the end of the day, mostly upset with the hype.
Oh, yeah.
Because mostly upset with the hype and because by inflating the whole cryptocurrency schema, what has resulted is a huge boom for many of the original set of investors who a whole bunch of them were like, alt-right folks. And it's like, I guess good for you, but also it just feels hyper capitalistic in a way.
Oh, it is.
That,
it is.
Yeah. In a way that I cannot ever endorse. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite as anti that, but you're exactly right though. It is very hyper capitalist, and it's my biggest thing is I was into it pretty big for a while. This was maybe. What? Okay, here's the dating of it. Whenever Bitcoin hit $1,000 per coin, that was the time frame. It was right around that time frame where I got into it, and I was into it pretty big. And it fluctuated.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, it was relatively early. In the following months, I had a couple of miners. I had a GPU rig that was mining Litecoin. I was doing it. I about made my money back, and then everything went up. All the difficulty went up, and I was like, now I'm losing money on the electricity. So I quit at that point, and then. I was like, it just didn't. I had traded it all. I had basically traded it everything. I wasn't really holding anything, which I should have. But I didn't know that at the time. I was looking to just get my investment back,
Yeah.
and um, yeah, it at that time there was also a huge issue with exchanges where a lot of them were going under, and they were
Mhm.
coming out as scams.
Oh
There was a
yeah.
whole bunch of scams and a whole
Well,
lot of theft going
the
on.
sort of the if you look at at least my understanding of this is if you look at sort of like the history of the exchanges, the first many of them like sort of just started and then fell out and then started and then fell out and then that was like rapid pace, almost
Mm-hmm.
frenetic, and then
Yeah.
started to you got ones that got more clout as more money kept pouring into the system, and eventually these kind of stable became more stable
Yeah,
with it.
yeah. And this was also in the very beginning of Coinbase,
Right.
and Coinbase has been probably one of the most stabilizing factors
Oh, I'm sure.
of the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those things that was like, so if you don't have the confidence in the currency itself, that wasn't where I was. I was in the losing confidence in like everybody else. I was like, everybody else that's in here is in here for, okay, either the pump and dump quick scheme,
Mm-hmm.
the I'm gonna start up an exchange and
Yeah.
then run away with all the money. Once everybody's got their money deposited with us, with their crypto deposited with us, or I'm going to be one of those guys that just scams the shit out of people and gets their.
Yeah.
So the community then was very shitty
Oh
and
yeah.
very
Oh, I'm
very
sure.
um. And it was just easy for me to walk away at that point.
I'm honestly curious, like, how did it feel to, like, did you feel like you were participating in that community? And if so, how did it feel to be a part of that? Like, to be on those forums or something like that?
I
Like,
didn't feel like I was participating in the shittiness necessarily. I was
no,
just,
sure.
for me, I was just looking because it
You
really
know,
wasn't.
I don't really read you as a shitty person, Drew, so, you know,
I
there's that.
try not. I try not to be.
You are not. At
I
least
mean,
you don't
you
have,
get
you
on my
don't,
bad side, I can,
I mean, you know, but you have so far proven to be a very rational and reasonable actor.
I
So.
appreciate that. No, it honestly was just one of those things where it wasn't necessarily that I had the thought, that coherent thought in my head at one point, but it just was. It was feeling very. It was feeling like the whole thing was very skeezy.
Mm-hmm.
It was like I think I'd rather have been in pornography. I
Yeah.
mean, it's to me that was more
Yeah.
honest at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
so I guess that's the bottom line is I would have felt less dirty being involved in pornography than I did being involved with that with the cryptocurrency at the time. And it just and honestly, the time that I was holding a very little amount, a very small amount.
Sure.
I think at one point I had a little over 1 Bitcoin in my possession.
Yeah.
You know, that now is worth a whole lot more money
Sure.
than it was then.
Yeah.
I mean, or it certainly peaked at a lot more money. What's it down to now? Like 10,000 again? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I don't keep track.
I don't know. But it was mostly bouncing between like $400 and $800 per Bitcoin in the time that I was doing it. It peaked at 1,000, and I thought, well, it could go back up there again, and might go a little bit farther. But I never saw that catastrophic kind of skyrocket, where that it would go up to as high as it went.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not surprised that it's back way down again.
Mm-hmm.
From those highs, those crazy highs.
Mm-hmm.
But Bitcoin itself is the problem with Bitcoin. Everybody looks at Bitcoin itself as, like the gold standard. Well, it's not the gold standard. It's the worst one.
Yeah.
It's like literally the worst one.
Because it was the first one.
Right, exactly.
So it's like it's the shittiest formula.
It's the alpha product.
Yeah, it's and they're like, oh, it's all of the rest of them are, they have to be the same, right? And it's like, no. This is all of the
No.
rest of them are better iterations.
Yeah,
Of,
I mean, that's
and I mean, and to me at least, I would argue better iterations of a poor concept. But even if you appreciate the concept, you have to. I completely agree with this idea of like, yeah, no, Bitcoin is an alpha product, and
Yeah.
and you have to
Yeah,
go
it's-
like, no, like go to the other ones at
yeah,
least.
it's terrible. I mean, the concept, the overall arching concept is I mean, everything, all the consequences aside. Okay, we're not talking about the consequences necessarily, but the concept of a stateless currency, right? That handles its own, that has its own built-in international network, that has no corporate overlords. Because think about our fiat currency. Our fiat currency has corporate and government overlords, right? And bringing it back to the pornography industry. One of the main reasons, one of the companies that dictate what you can sell and can't sell, all comes back to the credit card industry and the credit card processors. Because if you get banned from credit card processing because your content is not acceptable to them, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the concept of a currency that is completely free from corporate and government overlords is awesome. Right?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
I agree.
It's just that and nobody ever. I mean, come on, we're on the iPhone 14 now, right? So, I mean, this is not, here we are in 2022. Bitcoin's what, 2009, 2010, something like that. I mean, when did the iPhone come out? I don't know.
God's if I know.
I'm not sure, but anyways, we're on the iPhone 14, and countless other other smartphones at this point.
Iterations of X.
Yeah. So I don't see, that's why I look at Bitcoin and go, yeah, Bitcoin sucks.
Yeah.
And because it does, and because it's the dinosaur. It's the one that is yes, it's the first. That doesn't make it the best. And honestly, by this point in time, it was the way that it was created. It was meant to be obsolete by now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you look at the way that it was, the way that the halving was supposed to go, it was supposed to be obsolete by now. There's no point in there's no good reward for the processing anymore. So the fact that it's still alive is shocking to me. And I kind of like the where Ethereum is going a little bit better, and the fact that they have it's a platform and not I mean, it's just these are things that come along, the new features that come along using that same base idea of the blockchain. It's a great idea, and I think it's a nice ideal to strive for, a currency that is stateless and has no corporate overlords.
I can get behind that.
To control it. Thank you, Kitty. So, but yeah, the proof of work is problematic. I'm sure, especially for somebody who's in California looking at possible electricity
Possible. Yeah, no. We have electricity issues and also electrical wildfires more than every year. I mean, like it's we're constantly on like low electricity. Uh, like you have to. It's not necessarily electric. Yeah, no, it's electricity rationing basically, but it's a nicer way of doing it. It's not like we cut you off at a certain point necessarily, but that does happen sometimes. And then, but they're like, oh, do these things during certain hours and do those things during certain hours, please or else. And then,
Please or else.
and then, but then also like, what is it? Like 70% of the wildfires here are fucking caused by the electrical utility, which pisses me off to no end.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, and then you have the Colorado River drying up, so that's not good either.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, no, I mean, it's like people are like, oh, another wildfire, global warming, and I go, yeah, global warming is predisposing it, but it's funny how much corporate machinations are really the thing that is exacerbating the whole process.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people I know make fun of California because of the electric car mandate. The 2030 electric car mandate. When they're already when as they pass that, they're telling you that you're not allowed to charge your car. Or that you're not supposed to be charging, or please don't charge your car.
Yeah.
Because we don't have enough electricity. Well, what? Okay. Yeah. So that's like I get. This is just another one of those things. It's like I get where you're coming from, but
it's almost like one of the better solutions to the whole thing would be, effective public transit systems.
Yeah, I mean that would be good, and also the other thing too. In California, at least in some of the bigger cities in California, they're like, well, especially LA. LA is very, very drawn out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm personally a fan of the smaller, lighter electric vehicles, like something the size of a golf cart or smaller.
Oh yeah.
The neighborhood electric vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
and e-bikes and things.
Yeah. Oh, e-bikes are great. Here's the thing. I could rant about this extensively, and so I will.
This is an official bullshit session.
This is an official bullshit session. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, so, cars have consistently gotten, like, year by year for a while, bigger and bigger and bigger and bulkier and heavier, and it's wild now to look back and see a car from the 1930s or something like that, and go like, oh yeah, no, this is from the 1930s or 40s, and go like, oh yeah, no, these were like the first major rollout cars, when they were really getting popularized, and see what was there for that, and it's like, no, they were tiny. They were tiny, like size comparison to what we have today. Like what we have now are tanks, like mini tanks.
Well, that are on our streets. That's been regulated into them, though. I mean, they have to be tanks because they have to meet the safety and crash standards.
Right, but the problem with driving mini tanks down the street is that now if you're driving mini tanks down the street in order to protect the people inside, what protects the people outside of the mini tanks?
Nothing.
Nothing. Exactly. And so it's like, well, if you're driving mini tanks down the street and you can't protect the people outside of the tanks, then suddenly you have to provide more space for the mini tanks than even just the space that the mini tanks take up. So
Yeah.
that no one gets hurt by the mini tanks because we're driving vehicles that are look like weapons of warfare down.
And that's
It's just, it boggles me that
so. So here's what I think. Here's the thing about that, and this is
like,
again
they're
why I
armored
like
vehicles. They are armored
and-
vehicles.
they are, but so that's also because that they're also meant to be able to handle 80, 90, 100 miles an hour.
Right. Exactly.
Which you would never want to do in in something like a golf cart. Like
Yes.
even if it could do it, you'd be you'd
Exactly.
be like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But if you have, so I think there needs to be, and there is starting to be a distinction that has been coming. Although some of the regulations some of the people are getting around regulations by making some of these vehicles 3-wheeled instead of 4-wheeled. Because once they become 4-wheeled, now it's a car. But you can make light, highly efficient vehicles that are not that don't need to go more than that maybe top out at 50 miles an hour
Yeah.
or less, and are good for cities.
Yeah.
That are good for cities and
Oh,
good
they're
for getting
small.
around, and are small and efficient
lightweight.
and
Yeah.
lightweight. And even if it is gas powered, it could get 60 to 70 to 80 miles per gallon if you did it right.
Oh yeah.
And you're cutting down.
Well, this is why, honestly, I love motorcycles too.
Oh yeah.
Like, motorcycles are great, and because and people are like, oh gosh, I have people, friends even, like, in the city here where I live, they're like going like, oh, I hate the invasion of e-bikes because they're basically like, just slightly slower motorcycles that you don't need a license for, and I'm like, yeah, and I get that, and like, that's that yes, that's true, and we should be more careful about who rides them, or not who rides them, more diligent about training stuff. But like, maybe if everyone was riding those and not driving cars, the streets would be, I don't know, safer, and it wouldn't be a fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's these are things that because people can't they can't imagine streets without cars on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But the streets originally didn't have cars.
No, they had people.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
people. They were filled with people, and then you'd have an occasional buggy come through.
And then jaywalking was invented, and
Yeah, right.
by
right.
the car companies, and then the world got worse, and now we have
Yeah,
suburbs
take-
and white nationalism, and that end of the story.
Wait, I think we had that before, though.
I would argue they exacerbated the issue, but sure.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yes, we definitely had white nationalism before car suburbs, but
isn't that pretty much what Teddy Roosevelt was? Isn't it, in his Bull Moose Party? Like, wasn't that?
Oh yeah.
That was pretty white
We
nationalist
had,
party.
there's plenty of instances of white nationalism before. Yes,
I mean, yeah.
you can go down the list if you want.
Yeah, we can go down that list, and
But like, it feels in many ways like the entrenchment of that was so much aided by the building of the highways
mhm.
and the destruction of black and brown communities as a part of that construction of the highways, and also by the and also by this sort of uh, just the ways in which cities became more spread out and more disparate and more, I would
Right.
argue, you get a more violent city when you have a car based culture,
Hmm.
period.
Well, so living and growing up on the East Coast, it's always fascinating to me to go west and to see, because I hear people, mostly environmentalists, talk about urban sprawl, and like I look at, I look at it in my part of the country, and I go, well, yeah, I can see that. Like a lot of things, places that people would call the suburbs are very sprawly. But you get to the cities, man, that's not the case. We're super dense here, and and a lot of it has to do with geography. But um,
I'll say there's still a lot of car centric design in those cities because they've
oh
been
yeah,
because they've been changed. They were changed
sure,
during the highway era, but yes, agreed. They're not sprawly per se.
yeah. I mean, probably the only place in the country where if you live in that city that you can easily get around without a car is probably New York City. I think New York City is probably the only place. I mean, you can do it in Philly, but Philly's still a pain in the ass. It's not as organized.
Yeah,
It's not as it's a lot more. It is a lot more uh, spread out.
yeah.
Um, and there is some of the SEPTA is terrible,
SEPTA
but
is the
the
the transit
southeast. Yeah, it's the Pennsylvania
transit association.
Southeast PA Transit Authority,
Yeah,
SEPTA.
yeah. So it
Uh,
always ends in like transit authority
Transit
or
Authority,
transit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's mainly because of the way that New York City was built, and in the geography, they didn't have a whole lot of choice other than have public transit.
Um. It. Mm, they didn't have. Yeah. Well, they they tried to build a big highway actually along the waterfront, and then people fought back, and they did. They started it. The which Greenwich Village. Um, Part of that community was freaking bulldozed for a
Oh,
highway.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of cars in New York City, but
Oh yeah,
there's
but I completely agree. It's, I mean, I lived there for a little bit, and um
that's honestly the
yeah, no, you
one
can,
place I refuse to drive into. If I'm going to New York
yeah,
City, I'm either going
you
on a
don't drive.
bus or I'm going on a train.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. I
Uh-huh.
don't drive into New York City, and because there's nowhere to park. And even if you can find a place to park, it costs a small fortune.
Which is kind of the
So
point.
yeah, it is. But I mean, as in contrast to that, I've been out to Phoenix and Vegas, and those places are just. I mean, and this again, it's
Oh god,
geography.
Phoenix
It's
is
geography. Phoenix just goes on and on and on and
yeah.
on and on.
It's I mean, LA is really quite bad too, but Phoenix really bothers me also.
Phoenix is probably the definition of urban sprawl.
It really
Like,
is.
I think it is.
The city is shaped like this,
Yeah,
and then like this.
yeah. It just goes.
Yeah.
And I remember I took I took an Uber ride from. I had no when I was out there, I had no concept of where anything was.
Yeah.
So like some friends of mine
Well,
were
that's the
like,
thing
they're
is, it's
like,
hard
yeah,
to get a concept of where everything is because there's no landmarks there.
there's no landmarks and everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh look, here's more 3 to 5 story buildings.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
And we're going from one part of town to other, and we're like, oh, we'll just catch an Uber.
Uh-huh.
Well, we got an Uber, and
Mhm.
45 minutes later,
Mm-hmm.
we're at our destination. And I'm like, I thought you said this wasn't that far away. Oh, it's not. What?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna be in the
Uh-huh.
car for 45 minutes. For me, that's a significant
That's
drive.
that's across town at least.
Yeah,
That's like the other, when I say across, like the other, yeah.
yeah, that's a significant.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right over there. What do you mean? Well, it's not that far away. Jesus. No, that was an eye opener for me.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is not as bad, only because most of the places you want to go are concentrated in that central area.
Yeah, it's, well, are you
So
talking
most-
about Vegas or Paradise?
I'm talking about Vegas.
Like the Strip?
Yeah, like the Strip in
That's
that's
technically Paradise.
Paradise.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's its own municipality.
Oh, okay.
And they have
Well,
Vegas. Vegas doesn't allow gambling.
Vegas doesn't allow gambling.
Uh-huh. Gambling is legal in Paradise, Nevada,
Really?
which is a municipality right next to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
I've been there for a bunch of times and didn't know that.
Mhm.
I actually have my stepsister lives there. Actually, she lives in Henderson. I think Henderson is like right outside of I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I don't know all the. This is another one of those things that's like having to know all the burbs, all the little places, and everybody just calls it one place
Mhm.
because it all runs together because it's urban sprawl.
Yeah, it does.
Because it's urban sprawl.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it is impressive going from east to west and seeing the differences in those cities. It's I don't know how you would ever have a successful mass transit system in a place like Phoenix. That would be
Well, they started. They already started. They have one in that runs through the campus at the University of Arizona. And
well, that sounds smart.
mm-hmm.
It's a place to start.
Mm-hmm. And through the bit of downtown there. And I don't know if they've expanded it since I've been there, but I imagine they have because I was there at least 5 or 6 years ago. So
Is Las Vegas's monorail still running?
gods if I know. But I hope not
That's-
because monorails
that's the-
suck.
That's the crazy capital. That was the crazy capitalist answer.
Yeah. Monorails suck. that's like, it's super. Yeah, it's just like the most capitalist. It's the most capitalist bullshit project version of a public transit system.
They're practically scam projects.
They are scam projects. Have you
They're-
seen Have you seen the one that they did at the Palm Fronds in
in Dubai?
Dubai, yeah.
Oh my God! No, that whole thing is a scam. Like I'm positive that whole thing was a scam.
Yeah,
They-
well,
they
it's an oil scam, which is well, it's an oil vanity project, which is why there's a monorail there.
I think there's like one guy that sells monorails. He goes around, just like on The Simpsons, right? Do you remember The Simpsons? That he comes
Yeah.
down. It's the whole Music Man, basically.
Uh-huh.
There's like one guy-
I've heard you're filthy rich. Would you like to buy a monorail?
That's right. That's exactly right. And so he gets this that guy he got what five casinos to buy in Vegas, and then disappears. He's gone.
Yep.
What are we gonna do with this pile of shit? I don't know. Try to make it work. We've already spent how much money? It'll take another $100 million to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. So, the palm fronds and the world, and how many did they try? Have they tried to build? Like, there's the first one that they got pretty finished, mostly finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they had another 2 little ones.
Yeah, that are like.
And then they had. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
And
they're finished with
all
them.
the ocean has taken them all, has taken it all back.
Oh yeah,
basically.
and it will continue to. I'd love someone pointed out, like, why didn't they just build it in the fucking inverse? Like, you could have made little lakes inside the desert instead of trying to extend the land out into the sea. Would have made like, yeah, it's still a vanity project and it's still stupid, but like it would have made so much more sense. Like,
Well,
just
it's because I think it's because it's because just like Lex Luthor did in the Superman movie that nobody watched because it didn't have Christopher Reeve in it.
yeah, that one that sucked.
Yeah, the one that sucked. Where he made all this land pop up out of the middle of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make more land. Well, you can sorta, but
You have to drain the.
it's
Frickin'
just
ocean.
freaking. Yeah, I mean, you know, if global warming keeps going the way it is, there's going to be a whole lot more land in Greenland that's going to be useful.
And Antarctica eventually.
You know, I mean, that's when we find all the UFOs and the old technology when Antarctica melts. So there's that. There's that to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quick, get your tinfoil hats out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, you can take them off while we talk about Greenland and northern Canada,
Mhm.
where there are going to be some great swaths of farmland that'll be arable
Mhm.
as soon as
Mhm.
that all that stuff happens. But
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure.
don't live in Florida, because that
Which
you
is
shouldn't
really
live in
sad.
Florida now.
No, I object to that actually because there are parts of Florida, especially it's not the capital. Is it the capital? Tallahassee?
Tallahassee, yeah, that's the capital.
It's like
That's
a
up
really
there.
nice city.
I'm not going to argue with you that there's nice places in Florida. I like Florida in general.
And it has
I
like
just
yeah.
yeah, there's Tallahassee and Jacksonville up there in the north,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But living on the panhandle is objectively stupid.
You mean lower Florida? The Panhandle is like the little
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant the lower Florida. Yeah.
lower.
I guess for some reason I thought the panhandle was the lower part.
No, that's they
Oh,
call
the panhandle. Panhandle.
Yeah, there's part that
Panhandle. Pan.
Yeah.
I literally just got the origins of that word. I
Yeah,
don't know
and
why it took me 28 years to figure that out, but
that's
here we are.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes words actually have origins that make sense.
Rarely, but
Sometimes. I mean, we are talking about the English language. And my God, don't try to talk to what's the youngest generation now? What do they call them?
It's not
Alphas? They call them alphas?
Wait, seriously? I
I
thought
think so.
the youngest
Like-
ones I know are Zoomers.
No, I think
Have they
I think
switched
now
back
the
around to
kids
A?
Yes, I think they've switched back around and they're calling them alphas now. Like, yeah, I've seen some of the slang that they toss around, and I don't know what the hell they're saying.
Language is continuously evolving and changing, and that is both terrifying and very exciting.
No cap, bruh.
What?
Yes, exactly.
Is that a slang from a period before
That's
I
a
was...
slang from my 14-year-old niece. No cap. no cap. No cap apparently means no bullshit, or you're right, or right on. No fooling. Something. Those are equivalent slangs, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, no cap is like no bullshit. No shit. No cap, bro. She hates when I say that to her. By the way,
Mm.
embarrasses the hell out of her. So I try to say it as much as possible.
I'm. I wonder what the origin of that is, and
Having a clue.
I'm a little afraid that it might be like pop a cap.
I don't know. I almost need to I want to almost Google that.
Urban Dictionary. And I imagine you should be afraid. The emotion you should feel right now is fear.
Right now, Urban Dictionary. Urban Dictionary says no cap basically means they're not lying or capping. Apparently, capping means lying. Like they did something. Sometimes people. Oh no, that's just with emojis. I don't speak emoji.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the example. That food was good. No cap.
Oh, okay. Like just yeah,
yeah,
like no shit, like no cap, like
no,
yeah.
Yeah, no
like
shit.
It's like
no, yeah.
yeah, like fuck yeah, like
yeah,
like,
no
just like,
fooling. Yeah, no, yeah.
Like no cap.
Yeah, no cap. Yeah, so now I have to click on capping.
Yeah, you do. I'm
basically a brand new word for lying.
It's new.
It's what it says. There's no. So, as one of the probably more popular words I hear from these kids, that I'm surprised that there isn't a more elaborate
etymology
explanation here. Yeah, it's just. Jack, I just made the basketball shot from 10 feet. Man, quit capping. Okay, so there it is.
Okay.
There's our Urban Dictionary word of the day.
Yeah, your Urban Dictionary word of the day.
Yeah.
Let's not. I don't know. Urban Dictionary sometimes is very useful and sometimes makes me incredibly upset.
Yeah, don't look up your own name on Urban Dictionary, because there will be like just your first name.
Oh yeah,
like
some sort of sexual examples probably.
Yeah, usually there's something sexual or something that you're a complete piece of trash.
Yeah. Yeah, usually.
Yeah, it's a bad idea to do that. Don't do that, kids. Don't look up your first name and believe what it says about you on Urban Dictionary.
I mean, yeah, you can look it up, but it's usually be prepared for it to be stupid.
It's full of crap. I mean, full of cap. It's all cap.
It's all capping.
It's all capping. It's all capping.
Well, I don't like it. I don't like that word.
Yeah. There's some.
I don't know. I tend. I don't know. Well, gosh, what is the slang of my generation? I was gonna say I don't use slang, but I'm sure I do. Is the thing. I just don't think of it as slang because it's.
I don't know. Us '90s kids, we adopted slang. We either adopted slang from the early rap community or we adopted slang from previous generations. I don't know that we had a whole lot of our own necessarily.
Well, we're allowed.
Yeah.
What's the slang that you know?
The slang that I know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I usually say no shit, no crap. I don't know. I say stupid things like I'm really old. Like I dig that. Of course, Of course, I can put a 21st century spin on that.
Okay.
I used to be on Dig. No, I mean, I dug it up. No,
I don't know that I like that.
That's not. I know that's
That
not really,
feels
that's
that feels that feels
it's
really
forced.
dated.
It's forced.
It feels
It's
forced and dated.
It's forced and dated. I
Yeah.
know it's worse than just going with the 70s slang.
Yeah,
right?
like the 70s flag, I feel like it has been in enough movies and like
Yeah.
pieces of media and stuff that
Yeah.
even if I hadn't used it myself or didn't know it, I feel like I would be able to comprehend
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. Try slang. Like, what the hell else slang do I use? Like, I say like way too much, like a valley girl. I say like too much, like a valley girl. But that's just filling in the blanks.
Yeah, it's the same as It
yeah.
has the word like, I think, has sort of. I definitely didn't used to use it, and now I do, and I think it's just sort of infiltrated our speech, and that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't puzzle anybody. I'm like, what the hell are you saying? No, I don't know, slang. What the hell slang do I use? I don't know. I fucking swear a lot. I can tell you that much.
Oh, same.
I mean, but none of those are like real.
No.
That's not innovative either.
No. This is the thing. Is like
I'm like not like
people
unique
are like
to my generation. I would
no. It's
say.
like people are like oh, I feel as though it is difficult to identify what slang one uses for their own speech. And, like, I'm sure I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. I know there's some slang that I have intentionally adopted. And I'm aware of those. So, for example, I say newsflash sometimes. Like, I'd be like, to sort of like sarcastically say this, the thing I'm about to say is very obvious. That's one I've intentionally adopted, but because I think it's funny.
I don't know. One of the things that I think is funny that I use every time, it's not necessarily, it's more of a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Is when because I live on a fairly busy main street in the town that I live in. Anytime a really loud motorcycle or car goes by, I just say, "Sorry about your dick." I mean, we have some really truly serious offenders of that.
Sure.
They don't care. They don't care what time it is either. That's the other irritating thing.
Oh, do you live near Main Street?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the main street like where all the shops and everything are,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like one of the other like main arteries in the town that goes from one end of town to the other, and it's like there's not very many stops or red lights or anything on it, so people can just freaking drag race. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean,
so we get.
Yeah. I mean, that is frustrating, and I do not mean to. I do not mean to take away from that.
No, I'm not saying that like. I'm not saying that.
Oh no, I know.
Necessarily to get arrested or anything. It's just like.
No. I mean, like a cab,
no.
and also. Here's where I sit on that, which is that gosh, I love the way my brother put it recently, which is that he said that when someone violates what we perceive to be the rules of the road, What we should be doing is, instead of seeking out someone to blame,
Mm-hmm.
we should seek out the systems that allowed that incident to take place in the first place, and then change the design of those systems. So, like, in this case, there aren't any stops on that road.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe that road is too wide, and so no one knows to be careful along it. And they can just power through. You know? And both of those things are probably an issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? With that road design. And both of those
Mhm.
things could be changed, but they haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And so people just go through, and it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably
Yeah, it would
results
be-
in accidents, too, if I had to guess.
It does. It not so much on this street, but there's another one that crosses the other direction, and that is actually that's 2 lanes one way, as a matter of fact, in the middle of town. And that one has people that there's wrecks on that one. So,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah.
Oh.
And of course, you know, it's not like the speed limit is any higher on these streets. It's just that people don't, because there's no stops and there's no,
Yeah.
you know, people know where the major stops are. There's like
Right.
one
and so
right
they'll
off.
just zoom between them.
Yeah, they're just.
Right. And I mean, like, and that's the thing. It's like, I can't say that I wouldn't do that either.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I might not.
Yeah,
you know, I
yeah.
wouldn't do it as loudly, but
No.
or as
'Cause that's the other
aggressively,
thing-
maybe. But
That's
like,
the other
but
thing
like,
that I say is, your pipes don't need to be loud in order for your vehicle to go fast. I've had fast cars,
yeah,
and none of them were anywhere near that loud.
yeah. That
You know,
that
that's
is
the thing.
that I will agree is frustrating, and I wish there were more regulations pertaining to the sound that vehicles make.
So that's the other thing is I'm sure most of the vehicles that I complain about I'm sure are not legal, but to actually get to the point where you get somebody to do something about it, or I think maybe. So the only way that anything ever gets done about it is if a cop writes up a citation for it,
Yeah.
and
it's
then
like-
they go to in Pennsylvania, they go to the district judge, who then gets a decibel meter out and listens to, and like, it's like, what, that's, you know, that's not anywhere near in context.
No,
Like,
it's
you
not.
know, turning the car on and letting it idle and having a decibel meter at idle is not what's going on.
No,
You know?
no,
That's,
no.
that's not what's going on.
No.
I don't know.
But also, like, I don't think, at the end of the day, I don't think, I don't know, I wish to imagine that punitive measures are not the solution.
No, I don't think so either. And it's just basically why that's why I shrug it off with that phrase.
Right,
you
which
know.
is, I think, useful. For,
Yeah,
you
I
know, but
just-
in terms of focusing on what you can control and just being, like,
yeah,
annoyed
it's like,
for a moment and letting that be
basically
annoyance.
that's what it ends up being.
Yeah.
It just
No,
ends
I
up being
feel
me
that.
annoyed, and then I go about my day. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're an asshole. I know which vehicles you are.
Yeah.
Right? And most of the vehicles that actually annoy me are not motorcycles. As a
Yeah.
matter. It just for everyone's information, anybody that happens to actually still be listening to this, they're not motorcycles. There are a few motorcycles that are loud that come by, but usually those aren't the same people that are stomping on it and making their stuff excessively loud.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually take issue with Ford and their stock exhaust on their Mustang, on their 5.0 Mustangs now. Those are
You know the
excessive.
exact car.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
excessive. I've had multiple multiple. Well, and there's a Ford dealer right down the road too. So
I don't
heard
imagine
enough
that helps.
No, it doesn't. But when and actually, most of these cars that I have problems with are not necessarily the Mustangs, but I just know that the Mustang 5.0 from its factory, and I don't know if it's an option or not, but I just know factory 5.0 Mustang exhausts are retarded loud, and they don't need to be. And I couldn't even imagine driving it because it would rattle my teeth out. But that's one of those things where like a lot of people that like performance cars like some rumble, but they don't want that all the time. You don't want that all the time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how some of these guys can stand their cars the way as loud as they are. But I don't know. Maybe that means I'm just getting old and cranky. That's probably it. That's why I don't call the police. It's like, first of all, they're not going to do anything about it anyways. Second of all, I don't want to be the guy like, yeah, it's that guy. So I have a friend that has actually got labeled that out in his town about 20 miles away. And all the assholes got together and they did a parade around his house. And they put it on Facebook that they were getting a parade around his house because they know he's complained about a couple of their cars. And that's like next level assholery.
That is next level.
Yeah. It all ended up with a couple of them going to talk to the district justice at one point and getting reprimanded pretty heavily, but that's about it. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, you guys, stop being children.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's an issue.
It's an issue across the board.
Yeah, and also there are ways that I don't know. What am I trying to say? Effective conflict resolution techniques can be taught and can be learned, and they are not at all as part of educational sectors, and that's a problem, for one. And two, the current punitive system does not encourage actual conflict resolution.
Well, it doesn't teach. Well, and a lot of officers are never taught de-escalation either.
No, gosh, yeah, the opposite, if anything.
You know,
frankly.
it is the opposite. You know, you get somebody that's a little irate, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're using they're using physical force on him, which was never needed in the first place.
Yeah.
I have an issue with that because, you know, I am an elected constable, which is a law enforcement officer in my state, although most of the quote unquote real cops don't take us very seriously. But you know, going through the training, it's like, de-escalation's a thing, you idiots. But you know, try to tell that to somebody with a raging ego and a god complex
and a gun.
Yeah, and a gun. I mean, I live in Pennsylvania. Everybody's got guns. I mean,
yeah, no, I know.
You know.
Well, but you know, when you buy your own gun, that's one thing. But when you're given your gun by the state, I think it is.
Go get 'em!
Genuinely, I think it's something else. You know, like when. You know, you buy your gun, you know, regardless of whether you have training, although obviously I think there should be training, you know, like, you know, you buy your gun, that's that feels like a very different thing than the state. Yeah, like it's basically saying go get them. Here,
Pretty
go
much.
get the criminals. And it's
Go
like,
get 'em.
what is this? Like, oh, fucking like
Who's the criminals?
shitty
Everybody
video
that
game?
ain't you.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's the
Exactly.
criminals, boss?
Exactly.
Everybody that ain't you. All right.
All right. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. It's like, okay. Wow. Great. Glad
Especially when-
we've sorted that out.
Especially when you have IQ limits for your officers too.
Well,
Can't, you know.
IQ is fake though.
I mean, I know it's not like it's not it's like it's pseudoscience, just like a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it still is a measurement of something.
It's a measurement of something.
It's a measurement of something.
It's a measurement. Oh, well, it's a measurement of how well you can take tests. Is what it ends up being.
Then that tells you a lot of law enforcement officers fail that test. So I mean, still that's not good. I mean, however you slice it. I'm not saying like that people with high IQs are automatically super extra level geniuses or anything.
No.
But I think there's something there is something there, but it's not what everybody thinks it is. And I think that statistic, the cops with low IQs thing is better, is like the limits or not necessarily the limits, but I think that was just done as like a study where they were like cops average lower IQs and that they don't hire, like the higher IQ applicants don't get hired. I think that has probably something to do with.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it was out a while ago. Yeah, it might not even be valid anymore, but it was something that was kind of a fun little tidbit for a while.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. So, well, what the hell time is it?
I was gonna say, we're at an hour 20 in, and I am getting kind of exhausted. So I'm gonna say
I
if
think
we could call an end to it.
I'm
It's
good.
about 8 p.m. here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with it. It's just about 11 here my time Eastern.
All right.
So
The real question is, right? So we have, we never got any of the other folks. Let me just make sure.
Right.
Yeah, none of the other folks pinged into the chat. That sucks. That's okay. So we never got any of the other folks on the group chat that were hopefully going to help out with this project. I guess at the end of the day, what I want to make sure is that I am not the person that the tech is reliant on. So, i.e., it seems like the main hurdle was getting OBS down to 2 or number 27, any 27, and then installing that RMTP or RTMP, whatever. And then once that's set up, all you need is the keys.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anyone,
Do you think you could write up an instruction sheet
uh,
for those basic things
Can
for the
you-
OBS setup?
can you remind me to do that?
I can try to remind you to do that.
I will. Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna ask. Can you? Ideally, honestly, if you could remind me on Sunday, that would be great.
I don't think that's a problem. I think I should be able to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Like, I would really appreciate that. Yeah. If you feel like your brain can, if you can make a note to
so.
do that, or your brain can remember that magically, but
Yeah.
I feel like a note to do that would be best because yeah. Anyway, yeah, because I don't have the time between now and Sunday, but I do have the time after Sunday / on Sunday.
No, I think that would be, and this is going to be just some good information to have written down.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. I agree.
Because there are some specific things that you needed to do to make this work. So
yeah, it's not much, but it's definitely doable. It's
Not much, but
definitely
they're-
worth writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So we'll have that
All right, cool.
written down, and then anyone from that group should be able to replicate that tech as long as they have a setup for it, and then we'll have this. So anyone watching this now or in the future, this has been the test stream, but we'll have this every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Theoretically, is the time that we're going to be doing this. Possibly more times later. Unclear on that count, but at the very least for now, expect roughly every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're excited to do this.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
Any other notes from you two?
Not really, no.
Cool. Then I will.
All right.
Then I will end the stream. Okay.